Thanks for tuning in to another All the Feelings joint.
Want to skip those pesky ads and get early access?
Become a member at allthefeelings.fun/join and discover all the other great perks that come with it.
Jazz.
All the Feelings presents
Still Adulting.
this episode.
Surgery and mental health.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to All the Feelings, Still Adulting. I'm Pete Wright, and I'm here with Tommy Metz III.
That's me. Oh, my goodness. I'm here the whole time. Thank you for having us.
It is episode 11, Tom. That means episode 11 out of 12. We are 11/12ths through
That's right.
this half season, this season, the year of our Lord 2026. And we are ending it with, you'd call it, I'd call it a bang, right? These last two episodes.
These last two, everyone's going to
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're probably going to put them on the internet. Like, that's how excited we are. We're probably going to record. Yeah.
We are so thrilled and so excited to be here with these episodes. Today, we're going to be talking about surgery and mental health, and all of that is just it's just ripe for comic good.
I'm legitimately scared about your segment about surgery.
You should be. I'm scared about my segment on surgery because of my level of enthusiasm for it. Yeah. Believe me. This is weird. Because
there is something, just to give people a little peek behind the curtain, we had decided preventative health care and mental health care. And you said, yep, surgery. Like, you leapt towards surgery. And so you clearly have something up your medical sleeve, which I'm excited to hear about.
I do, but I don't get to talk about that first because, Tom.
You want to talk about mental health first?
I want to talk about mental health. You got to get your head right before you get your body right, right?
I love it. All right, let's call out that subset.
Subset 1.
Mental health.
Pete, I have a short story to tell you about a conversation I had somewhat recently that has to do with my segment topic. Would you like to hear it?
Tom, wait. First, can you tell me, is it harrowing?
It is not.
Oh, my God.
This is the one that is not harrowing. Instead, I believe it is heartening. The biggest villain of harrowing is heartening. Is what I've decided. Yeah, I think this is a happy one. And that's good because we're talking about mental health. I just start crying. Okay, so the person that I was talking to, who will remain nameless, just out of an abundance of caution, has been dealing a lot with anxiety. And it's been getting slowly worse and worse over the year. Last year or two, it sounded like. And they described times, especially when traveling, their hands would start shaking and their breathing would get all rapid and they would start swirling emotionally. It sounded like panic attacks, really. And during our talk, they repeatedly said that they had to get it sorted. And at one point, they jokingly said that they needed to rub some dirt on it and walk it off. That was sort of their way of talking about it.
I don't think that's hygienic as a metaphor.
Rubbing dirt on your brain? Pete. You've never done a little dirt dunk? Okay. Anyways.
I don't care for it.
I asked them if they had ever thought about talking to someone like a therapist. And it seemed like it hadn't really occurred to them, which is totally fine. But they wanted to know more about how they would do that. And so for the next 10 minutes, I explained the potential benefits of talk therapy, perhaps mixed with medication, shared my story, my testimony. And along the way, I kind of realized I was reminding myself why I think therapy can be so important, especially as an adult. These are things that I've said before to people, but I don't think I've said a lot of these for kind of years. And so I liked the idea. And so I wanted to share it with some of the things with you. I told the person, and some of these are just cliches that we've said 900 times on this podcast, but I talked about the fact that therapy is a gift that you give yourself. I talked about that having an objective person that is only there to listen to you and try and help figure out what the underlying issues are that you're dealing with can be life-changing. And when they asked about psychotropic drugs, this was the part, I haven't said this in a long time, but I trotted out, I think I came up with this years ago, or I read it and immediately took credit for it. I honestly do not know. I think so. If this is been in a movie or something, my apologies. I thought I came up with it. Probably not. Either way, when you ask someone why they take cold medicine, a lot of times, what do you think they say?
so that I can feel better? Is this a trick question?
No, it's to get better, is what they say. You take
Yeah.
cold medicine to get better, but that's not really true. That's not what cold medicine does. Cold medicine helps you manage the symptoms while your body does what's needed to get you better.
Yeah.
Like NyQuil doesn't have any vitamin C in it. It's all antidepressants. I'm sorry, antihistamines.
Okay, just so you know, that is staying in. You're going to ask for that edit, and I'm not going to give it to you.
Is it weird that I've been self-medicating with NyQuil, and I'm wondering why I'm a little tired today? It's all pain reliever and antidepressants and decongestants. So when, like, my therapist, the good and true Bonnie, who has come up on this podcast before, suggested that I start taking mental health medication, it was for that reason. It was to take the edge off of the heightened anxious state that I was in so we could do the real work in talk therapy. I needed the ghosts in my head to shut up a little bit so I could listen to reason, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I shared one last thing with this person, and this for me is the most, and then I'm 1,000% turning to you. I promise. I'm not just going to talk like this the whole time. For me, it's the most important thing I can ever tell anyone who is dealing with any kind of mental crisis like anxiety or depression, because it was the hardest thing, but the most valuable thing for me to learn. I run the risk sometimes of, I also don't know how to say this word, anthropomorphizing, making my anxiety into like an actual thing.
Anthropomorphizing.
I don't know why I become a caveman. Anyways, so I'm going to do that here. I probably shouldn't, but either way, your depression or anxiety will try and convince you that you should solve it on your own and not look for outside help. Right. In other words, putting some dirt on it and walking it off. That was what my anxiety told me for a really long time. I think it's because when I anthropomorphize it, it's because it wants to stay alive. The best way that anxiety can stay alive is to tell me to figure it out on my own.
Yes.
Because I can't. And so I have mental therapy.
Yeah.
So, Pete, what is your walk with therapy? Can you remind us? Because we've talked about me and my therapy and Bonnie quite a bit. But I don't remember the last time that we really checked in with you.
I've been through so many. I mean, I've just burned the clinic down. I've seen every therapist in it. Like, there's just no one else to see. Since I was a kid, I mean, I started going to therapy when I was, 15, less than 15, 14. What
grade would that have been ish?
It was when I freshman year of high school, whenever that is.
Yeah.
So I started therapy then. I saw a therapist in college. I was diagnosed. Weirdly, nobody really officially diagnosed me with ADHD, OCD until I was 29.
Wow. Is it because we weren't good at it yet, or?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I was a kid, the kids with ADHD were super noticeable, right? Because the only thing we were really addressing with ADHD, OCD were the kids with hyperactive type, right? Because we didn't know how to talk about it, and we didn't know what inattentive, we didn't know what spiraling, thought patterns were at the time. Like, we didn't know how to talk about that in regular quiet kids in the classroom.
And I feel like we were talking about spectrums.
Yeah.
Everything was just
there was
like
no fluidity.
On or off.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So by the time I was 29, I was actually in marriage therapy. I'd been married for a year, and we went in for just a 1-year tune-up with a therapist who was new to us.
Yeah.
And after 6 sessions, the therapist said, "You guys are fine.
Okay.
But Pete, if you're interested, I'd love to talk to you about your ADHD, OCD. Do you have somebody to talk to about that?" I was like, "I don't have that." And he said, Sure. Maybe come back next week, just you. And so I started a relationship with a new therapist, and that got me kind of got the ball rolling. And, as with anything, and this is, I think, the incredible.
Real quick, do you remember what tipped them off? I mean, other than you walking in the room and turning on and off the light 9 times. shaking his hand, then stepping down, and shaking his hand and stepping. Okay, he or she or they just picked up on it. Wow.
He picked up on it after 6 weeks of knowing somebody and knowing what my interrupt patterns are in the conversation and what I'm focusing on over and over and over again and unable to let go.
Yeah.
And that started a really nice relationship with somebody who gave me, and this is where I was going with that, was a new dictionary of language that I could use to describe myself. To describe experiences that I'd had all my life. But now I could talk about using precise language that felt like home to me, that felt like it wasn't just describing, I don't feel good, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel good in my head. It's, I can tell you what obsessive thought patterns are. Because for me, it's not about turning lights on and off. That's not my OCD, right? Like it's different than that, and it's very, just like my ADHD, it's very, very internal,
right?
And that was something that I'd never had before. And when you talk about medication, right? Interestingly, I've been on and off medication both for ADHD. I've done stimulants, I've done non-stimulant, I've done, but it was weirdly, because OCD and ADHD are best friends. I mean, best friends, like roommates. They went to school together. They study how to impact people together. They're getting very good at it. And because they are such close relationship to each other, and particularly with my kind of inattentive ADHD, taking care and medicating my OCD actually gives me a massive platform for addressing the accommodations that I need practically for my ADHD.
Interesting.
And so that's just one of the things, like figuring out what to treat, when to treat it, how to treat it, what molecule, what dose. That's been a lifelong dance. So I don't know. Did I answer I think I just vomited a bunch of words all over this conversation.
You 1,000% did. And I think that's really interesting, the interrelation between those, because I had mentioned anxiety and depression. Mm-hmm. Those two things don't seem to have a lot in common, and yet the same medication.
Same medication, yeah.
It seems to be the same place in the brain as making both of those, because I'm on 100%. Antidepressants. Do you find me to be a terribly depressive person?
Well, are we talking about today or generally?
Well, I am a little under the weather today, but usually you don't say depressive person and start laughing. Yes. If that's a good sign.
Not at all, right? I mean, that's a bit of it. And I look at it like, and this is actually not my metaphor. This was my kiddos' metaphor when they started meds in middle school.
Yeah.
They described it as, maybe I've talked about this before, but they described it as, it feels like when I'm sitting at my desk in my bedroom, that there is always, no matter what I'm trying to do, there's always a party outside, and I can't close the window, and the meds allow me to close the window. So again, to your point earlier, addressing symptoms just creates a platform to be able to deal with the real issues. It's easy for me to talk like a big therapy head, but I had a huge self-stigma against going on medication at first. When Bonnie suggested it, I mean, this was years ago when I started with Bonnie, and when she suggested it, I was pretty much enough dire straits that I was willing. It was probably like the best time in the way that I was looking for any kind of parachute. Yes. And so I was more open to it. But yeah, it can be tough. I wasn't afraid of, I think a lot of people sometimes get afraid of taking medication because they'll lose like their highs, or they'll just seem lobotomized or something. Mm-hmm. I was never afraid of that. It was just straight up stigma. Yeah.
And I think it just comes from, I don't know. I don't have people in my family that I know that are on things. Mm-hmm. Since then,
everybody
in
is.
My family.
Yeah.
Everybody. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well, I mean, you go in and you say, I don't find myself a very likable person. Is there a chance that this medication is going to change my personality enough that I'll be likable again?
Right. I came from the other side. Yeah, exactly. What can my antidepressant do for my double chin? Do you remember what it was like having your first? Did you choose? I guess what I want to segue into is the idea of starting with a therapist. If there's any listeners that are maybe thinking about it or on the fence, I want to give a little bit of a how-to kind of a thing.
Well, my experience is start with a therapist because they have a different way of thinking about how medication interacts with the complicated issues that you're dealing with. I find I hear this all the time because, I have another podcast, the ADHD podcast. You're familiar. And, we hear all the time from people who are like, I have a therapist, and then I get my prescriptions from my primary care physician, and they'll just pretty much give me what I need, right? They'll give me a prescription for what I need with 2 minutes of conversation, and they'll say something like, well, do you want to try something? And I'll say, sure. And they'll prescribe it without much discussion of what it is I'm actually trying to do. And invariably, the challenges will be something like, they gave me a prescription for this, and within about 2 weeks, I realized I can't have sex anymore. And nobody told me about the fact that I wouldn't be interested in it and I wouldn't be able to perform. Right. And when dealing with emotional and mental well-being, many of the drugs deal with those specific dopamine and receptors that cause you not to care about other stuff too that could be really important to your relationships. So not that you're having sex with everybody that you're in a relationship with, but just the fact that there are those things that you may not be considering. And sometimes having a conversation with a therapist, they'll be able to pinpoint the right molecule at the right dose at the right time in a way that a primary care is a little bit more blunt instrument. Right.
Which is a little maddening. I get more ideas about side effects from commercials than from doctors.
Right.
I mean, I would like the doctor. You know what I want in every hospital room or at every doctor's office is just a nice woman that's off in the corner. And then someone will be like, we're thinking about maybe this drug. And then she'll go,
this may cause rectal bleeding.
Right.
Yeah.
You might get a case of the dick don't work. And I just think that would be very important.
Yeah, that's good. The footnote lady. God, everybody needs a footnote lady.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when you talk about how much will it cost, another guy shows up and he talks really fast to hide all the fees.
That's the Micro Machines guy.
The Micro Machines guy. John Machinist shows up at the very end, and you're like, wait, did you say hundreds? I think one of the big things to remember, if anyone is, and a lot of this is going to be, or all of this is very self-evident, but just in case, if you are thinking about going into therapy, remember that you are not auditioning for them. You are trying them out. The first session should be short, but it should be free. And if at any time it doesn't seem like a good fit, then bounce. There are more therapists out there. To wit, I talk about the good and true Bonnie, who has changed my life. Before Bonnie, I had some real problems. Meaning, I don't mean my problems. I mean with other therapists. One of the first therapists that I saw as an adult-ish was in college. We both went to CU, and the health center there was Wardenburg, known for excellence. It only sounds like a prison, Wardenburg. And I was hooked. I was suffering from anxiety. This is my freshman year, and I went in to talk to someone. And after about 20 minutes, she let me know that she was a student, it turned out. I didn't know this. She was a student. She said her grade was dependent on whether or not I was getting better.
Oh, my God.
And she said, so how are you feeling? I said, great. And I left, and I never came back. I know that's an extreme situation, but that's one of them. Speaking of extreme situations, I've talked. Oh, yeah, go.
This is one that I can't beat that. I can't beat that, but because mine is so stupid. But I think I've told you about this one. I sat down and we started having a conversation. About 3 minutes in, he got up and started whiteboarding, and I was like, I knew then I'm done. Like I'm done. He picked up a whiteboard, and you could tell he just needed a whiteboard therapy. And I couldn't take it. That was the stupidest one for me. I couldn't take it.
We have a friend of the show who will remain nameless, but whose therapist fell asleep in a session with them, just like right across from them, just like, that's terrifying to me. But I've also told you my second. Well, probably this is the worst one, is that lady. I went in to see a therapist before. This was the therapist before Bonnie, and she diagnosed me because she took a call during our introduction session, the free session. I guess I was a little snippy to her, and she diagnosed me with rage disorder. Do you remember I told you about that? She said, "How long have you had rage disorder?" And I was like,
my
"What?"
God.
And she says, "This is what we will be focusing on, is how to let your rage out in more productive ways, because this is clearly something you've dealt with your entire life."
God.
And I was like, "I am out. You are crazy." Yeah. So maybe she had something going on. Another thing to remember if you're ever thinking about therapy, since the pandemic, telehealth really exploded.
Yeah.
Meaning connecting with a therapist through your phone or computer versus in office is easier than ever. Programs like BetterHelp, I think, probably advertise on our podcast. Like they are everywhere on every podcast. And Wirecutter, I just looked it up, recommends MD Live and Amwell, AMWELL. All of these programs can go through insurance or self-pay. So to end my segment, back to this person that I was talking to, I have no idea if they will end up getting therapy. I don't, at this point, I feel like I said my piece. I don't think following up is necessarily needed, but the discussion really did help remind me why I'm so glad that I have therapy. So it worked great for me.
Yeah, right.
It was only when I looked up and realized they'd walked out of the room or like a therapist, they'd fallen asleep mid my talking. I don't even think they brought up therapy. I think I just started talking about it.
Are you sure you're actually in a therapist's office? One day your accountant says, "Tom, we need to change our relationship."
Yeah, I just do not care that you're having trouble sleeping as a child. You are broke.
I've been giving you my medication for 8 years. Feeling friends, right now, as I'm talking to you, there are human beings walking around with pig kidneys inside of them. Not metaphorical pig kidneys, actual genetically modified, once oinked, now filtering pig kidneys sewn into the abdomens of living humans who are, as I understand it, feeling pretty okay about it. The first one happened in March of 2024. Since then, a handful of others have followed. The FDA approved the first real clinical trials just last year, and I want to take a moment to sit with the fact that we are alive in a window of history where your friend could text you and say, "Just got a pig kidney, feeling great," and that is a real sentence. But to understand how we got here, we have to go back in time. All the way back to 1667. A French physician named Jean-Baptiste Denis decided that what a sick person really needed was a transfusion of calf's blood. So he did it. Patient briefly survived. Denis got charged with murder, and France banned putting animal parts into humans for about 200 years, which, fair. In the 1920s, a surgeon named Sergei Voronov made a fortune transplanting slices of monkey testicles into wealthy older gentlemen to, and I quote the medical literature, restore vigor. This was real. This was in journals. Men lined up and paid. In the 1960s, they tried chimpanzee and baboon kidneys. In 1984, a newborn known as Baby Faye received a baboon heart and lived 21 days. Every single attempt ended the same way because the human immune system, it turns out, is a very committed nationalist. It sees a foreign organ and goes, "Absolutely not," and it kills it, and it kills you. For nearly 400 years, we tried to put animal parts into humans. For nearly 400 years, it killed the humans. And then, in the 2010s, a tool called CRISPR showed up, and scientists figured out they could just rewrite the pig's DNA. They could take out the genes that trigger rejection, and they could add in the human ones. And in our lifetime, in the last 2 years, it started working. And here's the thing I can't stop thinking about. Somewhere tonight, there is a person sleeping peacefully because a pig gave them a kidney. They're alive because of 4 centuries of doctors who tried and failed and tried and failed and showed up the next morning anyway. That's what progress actually looks like, not the miracle, the 400 years before the miracle. Want to pay to be in a group of people who don't probably have extra organs from animals? That's dumb. Become a feeling friend today. For just $35.25 renewing, you can become a valuable supporter of All the Feelings without taking on a single pig part. Plus, you'll get access to your very own members-only podcast feed full of extended editions of our episodes, members-only episodes, our trailer archive, and so much more. So jump in now, support the season, and know you're also supporting Pete and Tom as we launch our GoFundMe to onboard our own synthetic or animal-based organs. Visit allthefeelings.fun to learn more. And thank you for your support. And now, on with the show.
Let the drum beat go like this.
Subsect 2.
Sweet, sweet surgery.
Tom, hi.
Hi, Peter.
Last week, we talked about dirty, dirty dentists over-treating us for profit. Do you remember that?
I do.
So dark.
Yeah.
I know that last week I was really leaning in on the dental industrial complex is like coming for your molars, and I want
big
to
teeth.
Big teeth. Yeah, it was definitely a big tooth episode, and I acknowledge that there is some whiplash, and so I want to formally apologize for last week, because this week I am here to tell you that modern medicine is in fact a miracle, and I am a believer.
All right. Okay.
How do you feel about that?
This is a wonderful turn of events.
So here's my confession. I am weirdly, maybe some would say inappropriately, pro-surgery.
Well, all right. I mean, that's a little Cronenberg-y, but I don't know if someone says they're pro-surgery, but I mean, pro the things that surgery can do, sure.
Yeah.
I think there's something weird going on.
You think that's where I should just stop talking?
Yeah. Yeah, what you said.
That's it. That's the line. I have that same line. I don't cross it. So I have, and I'll just say out loud, I've not been the subject of some very, very challenging surgeries that people have had. I have had some surgical things done. I had a vasectomy. That was kind of a surgery, right? They're sort of messing around down there, but that you're awake for that. Like I had guests. What? My wife was there for that. Yeah. They just do it while she's holding my hand and watching the whole time. In fact, after they did the first one, she actually turned to the doctor and said, "I think I could do the second one."
Wait, was that something you elected to do, or are most people awake during it?
No, most people are awake. You're just awake. It's an awake thing.
Wow. I just assumed because it was in your downstairs bathing suit area that you'd be out.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. Okay. So
Nope.
vasectomy, what else?
Then I had my gallbladder out two years ago now. And that's a little bit more because they put you out and they drill holes in you. And the recovery was horrible. I'll just say that. The recovery was just stupid. I did not care for it. But the surgery itself is such a mystery box, right?
Yeah.
Like you go to sleep and you're a person with a gallbladder and you wake up and you're a person with holes and there's just no experience there. It's just like a gap in your biography. And there was a guy with his fingers inside and robot tools inside looking around. And then I came up and I had no gallbladder. So I wanted to just spend a little bit of time today talking about the part I do remember, which is to be summarized. Holy crap, they can do this now.
Okay.
That's the theme.
Yeah.
So about 600,000 people every year get their gallbladder removed in the U.S. alone. Did you know that?
I did not. And I don't know much about gallbladders. Is that where we make something gross, right?
The gallbladder doesn't actually make anything.
Oh.
The gallbladder stores bile, right? Bile comes out of the liver, and I think is it the liver that creates whatever creates the and then it goes into the gallbladder and sits there, and then the gallbladder spurts it out.
Okay.
And so the bile can go to town on fatty foods, right? But it can also create stones, and those stones can be very, very painful when they try to pass through the duct. So It is a very common abdominal surgery. It's called the cholecystectomy, and it is one of the most common abdominal surgeries performed in the world. The very first successful gallbladder removal was performed by Karl Langenbuch. Langenbuch in Berlin in 1882.
That's even earlier.
It's so early. He first did this on a cadaver and then performed a cholecystectomy on a man who had suffered from gallstones for 16 years and cured it overnight. Just cured it. 16 years, the guy is in agony, right? And the pain is so consistent that by the end, you are just begging to be cut open with a fork, a rusty knife, whatever. It is so painful. And so it is a nice reminder that for most of human history, right, if your gallbladder decided to start, collecting stones, your options were suffer and die. That's it. Like, it's just bad.
Right.
So in 1985, a gallbladder surgery still meant a big open incision, right? Big problem, big surgeon, big incision. They cut you open, they dig around in there, they slice it out. It's a big, very difficult to recover, and you're really resting for the order of months because your abdomen has been so violated. So that brings us to the thing that is so amazing. This is the core wonder moment of our story. In September 1985, a German surgeon named Erich Mühe built a custom instrument that he called the galloscope. Galloscope because of the incredible naming convention that they picked. I think that is just a stunning bit of marketing there. And performed the first, and this is the next big word of our conversation, laparoscopic cholecystectomy. Right. So instead of cutting you open and rooting around in your organs, they just poke. They do call that. They teach that in med school, rooting around. This is rooting around 101.
Okay. Yeah.
Removing the gallbladder through tiny, tiny holes instead of one big incision.
Oh.
Right? And now the way they perform the gallbladder surgery. Now, I don't even know if then they did it the way they do it now. Things change. But they actually poke 1, 2, 3, 4 holes in your abdomen, one in your belly button, and I think that's the one that pumps air into your abdominal cavity to fluff it up so they have room to maneuver.
Okay.
And then 2 others, one for light and one for the equipment the little robot arm that goes in and does the snipping. Okay. And then a 4th one at the top, right above where the gallbladder sits, that they actually take the gallbladder out of your body. But those are tiny incisions, like so tiny you regret that you don't have a more badass scar after it, right? It's just done. So that is a stunning turn of medical miracle to be able to do this without and to be up and around and walking to your own car in pain, but you're walking around. You are okay.
That is an interesting mix of revolutionary, but there's something a little analog about making a hole for light. Like I would like it, like if there's one last hole and it's used to like mop the brow of the robot.
Well, so this takes us, I mean, things start progressing very quickly. In 1987, a French surgeon named Philippe Mouret did the first video-assisted laparoscopic cholecystectomy, almost by accident. A 50-year-old woman asked if, while he was in there doing a gynecological procedure, he could also take out her gallbladder. He said, sure, why not? According to, Philippe Mouret, the first cholecystectomy was performed quite naturally without premeditation. This is like a, hey, while you're up, grab me a Coke kind of a moment, right?
Wow.
He just took the little laparoscopic arm and went all the way up to the gallbladder and snipped it and brought it back out.
Okay.
I know.
I'm assuming he's lost
stunning.
his license. That sounds crazy.
Well, reportedly, on the first day, he goes to see her after the operation, and she chewed him out. She said, why didn't you take my gallbladder as you promised you would? She did not know that he did remove the gallbladder because
That's how
he did
smooth
it.
it went.
That's how
Oh my
smooth
God.
it was. Yeah. Yeah. It went so smoothly that she was actually pissed at him because she thought he hadn't done it.
Why did you
I
take
think
my
that's
gallbladder?
crazy.
Oh, really? And he just holds
Yeah.
it up in front of
Yeah,
her.
right.
You idiot.
You mean this gallbladder?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the evolution of the laparoscopic cholecystectomy took place so suddenly and on such a large scale that the history worldwide, that in the history of surgery, the last decade of the 20th century is remembered as the laparoscopic revolution, right?
Huh.
It was driven in large part by the market, by patients, because people started having this reputation for Band-Aid surgery, right? Band-Aid surgery. You can go in and do this thing and have a
'Cause
Band-Aid
you just got
over
these little
yeah,
holes. Yeah.
right. So people started demanding it, and the media had a lot to do with that kind of growth of laparoscopy. These reports spread so fast. So for 100 years, we accepted that the big incision was because it was a big surgery, and then one surgeon has this one idea, and this one French woman does a combo deal, and within 5 years, the entire field reorganized itself.
Wow.
That's bananas.
To move that fast.
Yeah.
For something like, well, I guess to move that fast after moving so slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's just an enormous
right.
leap forward. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is where are we now? So we have single port surgery. They can now do prostatectomies and kidney surgeries through one tiny access point. It is a new surgical era. Mohammed Alaf, MD, is at Johns Hopkins and says we're seeing right now, we're in this wave of the miniaturization of surgery. We can do things with such small parts now that that minimally invasive is taking on a whole new meaning.
That's incredible.
Right. So the first fully robot-assisted cataract surgery on a human was performed this year, right? Foresight Robotics has a platform they call Jasper that enables fully robot-assisted cataract surgery in human patients. Incredible. Telesurgery, surgeons operating robotic arms remotely from the other side of the planet.
That used to be in like a commercial about like AT&T or something.
Yeah, it was like 5G.
Was that what it was?
5G ad, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I remember
because
that.
because what is happening is they're actually like in Cleveland. They're at the Cleveland Clinic eating a sandwich and performing surgery on somebody,
Oh, no. And then you forget
Iceland.
which gloves do which, and you're spreading mayonnaise all over the
the
patient.
mayonnaise. That is actually a part in the manual. Beware of mayonnaise because everything on the robot is white. You're going to get very confused. Yeah, it's rough. High intensity focused ultrasound. Have you heard of this? This is crazy. They strap you into this machine and they point ultrasound guns at at multi points around a thing like there's a tumor, and they shoot high pinpoint ultrasound waves to break up tumors, kidney stones, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Crazy stuff that you can do now. It's surgery without surgery.
Oh,
Sound is doing the surgery now. It's incredible. So this is the thing that I just keep coming back to. This, the mystery box of surgery, like the gown and the IV, and the anesthesiologist who says count backwards from 10, and I say, F you, man, I'm going to make it all the way to 0, and I make it to like 8.5. And then you have the recovery that is miserable, and it feels like you didn't even earn it because the surgery is so easy. And at the same time, somebody just rearranged my body in some way.
Wow.
It's almost to the point where the technology is wild, but what's even more wild is the trust that we adults who can barely be trusted to send a birthday card will voluntarily hand ourselves over to strangers with robot arms and just say, knock me unconscious and have your way,
Would you, Pete, if you were given the option of human, or we can have a computer man, what's it called, robot, do it, and the robot can do it a week beforehand, so a little bit earlier, so that's an incentive. Would you be evenly interested in either one? Or I guess I'm saying, do you have any fear about robot doctors?
Well, I think context is everything for this question, right?
Okay.
Because when I got my gallbladder out, I was in the emergency room and I had been living with gallbladder attacks for years. and I was in an extraordinary amount of pain. Had you come to me in that room in the emergency department and told me that same thing, I would have said, do whatever you need to do.
Well, that's parallel with me taking psychotropic medication.
Yeah.
I was in so much mental pain that I was like, let's go. Huh. Okay.
Right?
Interesting. Yeah.
So right now, today, if I get a chance to plan a surgery, I think I might, wait for the doc.
Yeah.
I think I'm fine getting on his calendar.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, if you that choice,
push
context
comes to
matters.
shove.
It's huge.
That's a very good point.
Right. It is stunning to me that 140 years ago, Carl Langenbuch had to practice on a cadaver before doing the first gallbladder surgery. And then 40 years ago, we were still splitting you open for it.
Right.
And now 600,000 people a year walk in, take a nap, and walk out without a gallbladder. Wow. That is something to really celebrate. It's extraordinary what is possible. And so much about healthcare is broken, but the advent of these tools is extraordinary.
Yeah.
And do you know why the surgeon brings a pencil?
Oh, probably to draw blood, I would assume. But
yeah.
Did you know what a surgeon's favorite type of music is?
Oh, well, hip hop.
Hip hop. Yeah, that makes sense. All right.
Do you know why the dog went to medical school?
To become a labradoctor. Duh.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
Pete, watch out!
Connect electrodes.
Thank you all so much for joining us on this episode. This week's tune is Dr. Juice by Leon Laudenbach.
Wait a minute. Isn't that the guy that did one of those surgeries?
That's Carl Langenbuch.
Oh, well, I'm sure that he had his own doctor.
I'm sure they at least knew each other.
Yeah.
Tom, what's coming up next week?
Oh, boy. Well, we wanted to do something really special because it's our last episode of the entire season. So I'm going to be talking about trash and recycling. Woo!
I'm going to be talking about something that really plagues our squarely in the middle of our adulting reality, and that is seasonal stuff, Tom.
Oh, seasonal stuff and trash and recycling. I think everyone just wants to go to bed. Like, speaking of anesthesia, they just want to fall asleep right now and wake up when it's next week, because that's how excited people are for episode 11, 12.
I think you're absolutely right. They cannot get enough of this. I think if you don't drop the right rules for using the number 4 on the bottom of your recyclable containers and those arrow symbols get straightened out like Robert Langdon in the Da Vinci Code, then we'll have done our job wrong. We'll have done the wrong job.
Yep. You're welcome, America. So until then, I'm Tommy Metzman III.
And I'm Pete Wright. Thanks for downloading. We'll be back next week, we promise, with all the feelings, still adulting.